So the question that was presented to me was, could you cover ethical concerns in a future webinar? Attempting to notify the facility of unethical practices could lead to termination and adverse effects on future employment. Should coders keep quiet for the sake of their career? Well, to me, there should be no doubts on whether an employee should remain silent when observing unethical behavior in the workplace. There are no guarantees that the coder or the employee will not be terminated, temporarily suspended, or demoted. But regardless of that outcome, let's just say that the employee is allowed to stay on. She or he may still suffer because she's regarded in a different light, and she might suffer the consequences of his or her actions in that way. But honestly, I would never keep quiet for the sake of your career. It is not worth the risk. It's just unacceptable and not worth compromising your own belief system. In addition to that, depending on what your role is in the facility or the medical practice, if for any reason someone else is the whistleblower or something happens, you will be involved in all of that as well, and you don't want to be part of that. But let's assume that the unethical behavior had something to do with coding. One of the things that is brought up a lot in the medical billing and the practice management course, and it is addressed in the coding course as well, is the False Claims Act, and that has one of the strongest whistleblower protection provisions in the United States. And it has many complicated components and requirements which can harm any person that pursues such a claim without legal counsel. And so it really is involved. So due to the potential for significant financial recovery, it is usually possible to retain an attorney for such an action. And if you go online and you type in whistleblower or is it Quitam, there are so many attorneys listed that will support you in this type of a situation. So it is very involved. The False Claims Act does allow persons or entities with evidence of fraud against federal programs or contracts to sue the wrongdoer on behalf of the United States government. And if the government wants to get involved, they can, but if they don't want to get involved, they can decline. And that person who is the whistleblower in this case would still be able to move forward with the, accusation of fraud or whatever wrongdoings are going on in the facility. Some states also have laws that are at the state government level, so it's just not all federal. And I also know that there are a lot of carriers, at least in my state, that they have hotlines for anything that's going on that's unethical as well. So there are hotlines there. And you want to investigate the facility you work at as well to see if there is any type of a compliance plan in place, because there may be provisions in the compliance plan that spell out the repercussions of your actions. I mean, if there is a plan in place and you do see a violation, there may be steps that are already written in a protocol that you would follow. But no matter what, never compromise yourself. I have been witness to being involved with a whistleblower situation, and when I owned my billing company, I was investigated just like the provider that was the unethical person, and until I proved myself innocent, I was under investigation by the Justice Department as well as the Health and Human Services. So if you see something going on and you don't do anything about it, you may end up getting implicated as well. For me, I follow an OIG plan, and I kept a paper trail like you wouldn't believe, and thank goodness I did, because it saved me, and I ended up working for the government as well as for the provider that was in trouble. And I've gone to court in fraud cases, and everyone has ended up in jail, every provider. So it's not worth, I mean, yes, you don't want to lose your career, but at the same time, if you know something is not right, I would take action and walk away if I had to. But that's my opinion. I'm just, that's really all I can say about that.
All right. Thank you, Joanne.
Can I add one piece of information to that?
Yes.
I totally am right there alongside with you, Joanne. And the fact that if you keep quiet, you got to think about whether or not you're violating the ethics that you agree to with the AAPC. Because you know about it and you keep quiet, you're just as guilty as the person who is committing the act in their eyes, the way that they're codes would.
And that's true with the Office of the Inspector General, their whole compliance plan. You are in violation if you're aware of the violation. So you're right.
Absolutely.
It's just unethical across the board, and it's not worth it. It just isn't. One door closes, another one will open, and it's always held true for me. I just could not compromise myself like that. I've terminated some lucrative practices over the years just because I wouldn't walk that path. So you have to do what's right, and that's the bottom line.